Hey everyone, before we dive into the show this week, we just want to take a moment to address something important. Recently, one of our former contributors made a series of statements, both publicly and privately, that were not only deeply offensive, but hurtful, and completely against what we stand for here at Two Titans and a Hunter. And after careful consideration, we made the decision to remove them from the podcast, the clan, and the community Discord. We want to be absolutely clear, we do not tolerate racism, homophobia, transphobia, or any form of bigotry on this platform. We believe in creating a welcome, inclusive space for all players, full stop. If you heard anything on past episodes that was hurtful or harmful in any way, we sincerely apologise. That's not the community we want to build, and we take full responsibility for ensuring our space is better going forward. We're incredibly grateful to you, our community, for holding us to a higher standard. Thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts for sticking with us and for helping make this space better. We do appreciate you, all of you.
Welcome to the Two Titans and a Hunter, Destiny 2 podcast, a show dedicated to bringing you the latest intel, the mightiest news, and the boldest opinions from the farthest reaches of the Sol system. Whether you're a bright-eyed new guardian, fresh from the Cosmodrome, or a battle-hardened veteran of the Red War, this is your Destiny destination. We'll arm you with tips, tricks, and tower-worthy tools to help you triumph, thrive, and revel in the glory of the fight. So without further ado, let's get on with the show.
So, welcome to the show this week. You just have myself and Peroty here, but that is not going to be the case going forward. We have got a ton of support from our community, and we do have a little bit of a surprise this week. Not Arf and Noble got together this week to record a little bit of lore. So that will be dropped in later on in the show. And Arf promises that at some point he will be back to help out every now and then. Noble also said he will drop in and give us a hand. I'm sure some of our other community will also drop in and give us a hand. But for now, you're going to have to put up with myself and Peroty.
For better or for the worse. We're not stuck in here with you. You're stuck in here with us.
Yeah, that's the way. So I have been trying to catch up this week in Destiny because the stuff that I put in this week in Destiny video last week about this is what's going away in the game, I've suddenly realised that is going away in the game, and if I haven't completed it, then I'm missing out on X, Y, and Z. So I was like, I need to take my own advice. You know, this stuff's going away. I need to actually have a look at what triumphs, what challenges, and what seals that I kind of want to get done. So that's what I've been doing this week. Have you been able to play anything at the moment, or have you just been busy with work?
I've done a little bit this week. I've sort of been doing the same thing. I'm sort of at the point where going, well, I'm not going to like clean my vault. I'm not going to, delete everything I own and say we're starting fresh. Yeah. I've been sort of trying to watch the different takes I've seen people have of, okay, how much, how much should I be cleaning? How much room? I've got plenty of room in the vault at this point for new things because I did the cleaning before. So, I mean, I've got room for, the first couple of weeks of drops and things to come. But yeah, I've sort of been going, I read a couple dungeons, just to get those done. But again, it's not like I'm really looking for anything particular. I guess on the weapon side, sort of just seeing what rolls I can get. But the armor, I'm not really focused too much on. I've sort of been doing the same thing going, okay, I'm really close to a couple of these weekly challenges. Let me make sure I'm knocking those out. Let me secure the large pile of bright dust. And then I've been playing the catalyst game of what weapon have I not used or have I not finished the catalyst on? Let's throw that on and run around with that for a while. So I've been doing some of that to sort of, clean up for the end of the season type thing.
Yeah.
Going, we're just over a month in, or a month left as we record.
Yeah, I did see a really good video this week from Datto, but he went through like weapons that you could grind for now or get now for the Edge of Fate, and it'd be worth kind of keeping. But it all kind of just boiled down to literally getting the aberrant action, which was the solar sidearm, the rocket assisted sidearm, because in episode Echoes, those were the kind of last weapons to be crafted or be able to get the red borders to craft. You could craft it, or you can get the patterns to get it to be crafted so that you could put whatever you want going into the Edge of Fate. There were a couple of other recommendations, but it all kind of, he was like, if you want to, this is the main one that you kind of need to get, which, it comes, I think it was Hill Clip and Kill Clip, or you could get Hill Clip and Incandescent, some of the cool, good rolls, because those rocket assisted sidearms are still going to be really worth using. Although he did say that there was another solar rocket assisted sidearm coming with the Edge of Fate that they haven't kind of discussed yet, or they haven't shown. So that was quite interesting. I will drop that video into the show notes. And going back to where you were saying about clearing out vaults and things, I've had that same kind of idea. I was like, do I go through and go, well, let's get rid of these now? And I'm like, maybe not, because yes, I've got them, and maybe I'm not using them, say like a high impact sniper or a rapid fire sniper, but I've got like one of each flavor in certain things that each do a certain job. And I'm like, well, maybe I will wait for the Edge of Fate, because I can always dismantle that and just kind of find a like for like replacement in the new tier system, which is what I'm kind of going to, get around to doing. But I did see a really cool video on TikTok by Sticky MZ, and he was saying because of the stat changes, so mobility and what else was it? No, it was weapons and something else, and health are changing, aren't they? From the resilience and the recovery into health, and the weapons was from one of the other stats. So we're still going to have the 6 stats, but they're all kind of changing. We did go through that last week. But he said, at the moment, if you want to kind of get gear that is going to be relevant in the Edge of Fate, what you want to kind of go and do is go to Episode Echoes failsafe. And if you've got engrams there, focus those engrams in either, and put on your ghost mod to say, I either want a high stat in mobility or a high stat in intellect, because he said those ones are going to be the hardest ones to get in the new system. So if you can get one that's got a high stat in intellect and mobility, and it's above 65, keep it, because it'll be worth something. So I did spend a little bit of time yesterday on my Titan going to failsafe and going, right, give me this. And I got a couple of cool rolls. I got a 65 with a mobility of 22 and an intellect of 20, resilience of 9, and then recovery 2, discipline 2, and strength at 10. So I got a good roll with that for my helmet. And then I was like, oh, now I need to look for gauntlets. So I was doing the same kind of thing with gauntlets. And I did get a 63 roll in my gauntlets with mobility of 26 and intellect of 29, and everything else was in the 2. So I was like, I'm tempted to keep that. So I've kept it for now, but I don't know if it'll be worth it. The other one I got was a 66 roll, but that had high resilience at 29 and intellect at 24. So failsafe at the moment is a really good, or the Echoes failsafe in the helm is a really good place to kind of say, right, I'm going to put this on my ghost mod. And as long as isn't it the top 3 stats versus the bottom 3 stats? So if you say, like Sticky was saying, if you put it, I want high mobility, you're guaranteed to get a high mobility stat, and they're in the top 3. So if you want mobility, resilience, or recovery, and you say you just want mobility, you're going to get a high stat in mobility and maybe lower in the other 2. And then the bottom 3 is discipline, intellect, and strength. So that's why you kind of want to select one of those. So it's, it was a really good thing. So I'm going to go back through and have a look at my Warlock and my Hunter as well, because it'll be interesting to see if his kind of theory pays off going into the Edge of Fate, because I've got nothing to lose at this point. I've got like 80 odd engrams sitting at failsafe. Apart from losing vault space, which I was like, okay, maybe if I delete some of these old 63 rolls that maybe won't translate across to be good stat rolls when the Edge of Fate releases, I'll give them up for now, because apart from wearing Iron Banner stuff for the Iron Banner next week, I think I could kind of move some of these armor pieces around and see if I can get higher stats in the rolls for coming up. So he's got like I think it was about 3 or 4 sets that he's got saved that are the high stats for going into the Edge of Fate that he's kind of already got built. So yeah, I did pass that information on to Blue yesterday, and we sat at failsafe just re-rolling engrams and going, oh, I've got this one, I've got this one. He had a really good set. I think they were all above 66. He had 66s and 67s for his Hunter, so it worked out really well. So yeah, I recommend doing that. If I can find the Sticky video, because he's not necessarily on YouTube, it was a TikTok. So if I can find it again, I'll put it in the show notes. But that's pretty much it. It's just like get a ghost mod for either mobility or intellect, and then go to failsafe if you've got access to Echoes and those engrams. Because if you've been playing, then you've probably just got them built up and just sitting there and didn't really know what else to do with them.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of people doing those. Yeah, those same kind of videos going, well, if you are going to farm for something, sure, maybe this is more worth your time. Yeah, looking for those high stat rolls, looking for those interesting stat rolls. finding something spiky to go into the Edge of Fate with.
Yeah, I mean, apart from playing the dungeons and getting the weapons that we know that are going to be translating over into that new tiered system and hanging on to some of these weapons, because, I mean, some of these weapons are still going to be viable to hang on to. And like we found out before, that even the sunset weapons that have now kind of come back, everything's kind of going to be sunset, you don't know whether, like, in about 6 months' time, a certain weapon archetype is going to be really good to use in, like, regular Crucible that you can still use, because it can only roll with those certain perks, or it rolls with that origin trait. And that's why I don't want to kind of just go through my vault and blitz it. I mean, I could, and there's nothing from stopping anybody if they want to do that, if they just want to start afresh, because it's less work if you just kind of go through now and blitz it, and then you can start afresh when the Edge of Fate releases, and you haven't got all that pressure of like juggling and playing that other end game of, oh, what do I move? What do I get rid of? Kind of thing. So it is easier to kind of get rid of it all, but if you want to kind of play the min-max game, you kind of do what we're doing and just, do little things here and there.
Yep. Yeah. You just need to decide how much time you want to spend sorting your vault out beforehand. But I think everyone has basically said, no matter what you're doing, what strategy you're taking to this, give yourself some vault space. Give yourself some room. Clear out 5, 10 spots at least, just to have things to pick up. And sort of the same thing, if you're bounty hoarding, which again, I've seen a lot of people going, what's the real point of bounty hoarding? Like, there's nothing going to drop day one, or you need the bounties for. But hey, if you've been doing this long and that's your routine and that's what you're going to do, I'm not going to tell you not to. I'm not going to stop you. But they are reminding folks, hey, make sure you keep 2 or 3 quest slots free for whatever you're going to get in the Edge of Fate. There is a campaign. There will be other things coming up. Make sure you have room to pick those up, and you're not sitting here day 1, 2, or 3 of the Edge of Fate waiting for Bungie to say, we found an issue with if you don't have any quest room, you can't pick up the campaign and you can't start it.
That has happened previously, though, hasn't it?
Yes, it has.
Previously.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, make sure you've got room to pick up your artifact, to pick up your quest. If nothing else, turn in those things. Turn in a couple of them if you want to wait. Turn in a couple of those things before you start the Edge of Fate. Don't let the Edge of Fate turn it on before you go to talk to anyone or pick anything up. Have at least 1 free slot, and then maybe dump a couple other bounties just to make sure you've got 2 or 3 slots. Again, you can pick up your artifact, you get your quest line, because you might be stuck for, it might have been a day before, it might be a week now, it might be a couple of days. Give yourself, set yourself up for success. Whatever little bit of experience you're going to get right at the beginning, because again, these seasons are going to be 6 months. This isn't like a 90-day sprint you're trying to get to the end of now. Yeah. Each season is going to be 6 months. And, the next update is coming with, Fire and Ash in September. So, and even that's part of the same, basically this first season of Edge of Fate. So it's not like you need to be top level, highest light, because you're going to be 10 like the rest of us when you start. So you'll get to 200 quickly with the campaign, most likely. It doesn't need to be a super race to max out your light, in which case, hey, if you want to do that, I'm not going to stop you. But just, don't screw yourself and have to sit out a couple of days due to a bug keeping you from progressing at all, because then you'll be sad while the rest of your friends are playing and progressing, and nobody wants that.
Yeah. And the other thing that Datto was saying is, like, with the rocket assisted sidearms, now is a good time to kind of get that aberrant action, the solar one from episode Echoes. So if you have got engrams and you haven't got the red borders, you could also chuck those at failsafe, and she will give you the red borders after a while, or you could just play the Echoes stuff. The other one was that we've got the Iron Banner coming up this coming week. So if you want the Stasis, or is it Strand? I can't remember now.
It is Stasis.
Okay, so there you go. Rocket assisted sidearm Stasis. So yeah, and the call from Pale Heart, if you've kind of got the expansion. And then, Tenneshu's Mastery, which is be coming up in the Iron Banner this upcoming week. And then you can do the dungeons for some of the other ones. We've got the Warlord's Ruin, which is for the Arc one, which I can't remember off the top of my head is called.
The Indebted Kindness is the Arc one. Yeah, and the call, that is our Strand, Rocket Assisted Sidearm. So Tanisha from Iron Banner is Stasis. The call Strand is Pale Heart. Indebted Kindness is from the dungeon, and that's the Arc one.
Aberrant Action from Echoes, and then you've got the Lotus Eater, which you can also get an Adept version of in the Nightfalls, and I believe that is the 1st of July that is coming back to the Nightfalls. So if you want the Void one, with all the void verbs, you can get that one in the Nightfalls. So yeah, and also the other thing is that I still think that the weapons that we got from Bungie to say, oh, I'm really sorry that we messed up with some of the rolls with the dungeons and other things over the time, those rolls of those weapons are still at Banshee 44. So if you've been away for the game, Bungie did give us it's about 5 or 6 weapons, and they gave us an Indebted Kindness. They gave us a versus baton, I believe, and a versus something else from the Warlord's Ruin, the versus Chill Inhibitor, which was the heavy. And there was a Trials weapon. There's an Iron Banner weapon. Those weapons are still there, because last time I looked, because I didn't actually pick up any of them because I had good rolls of the ones I already had. But these are really good rolls as an apology from Bungie. Those are still there, and they probably will still be there until the end of the episode. And then maybe Bungie will say goodbye to those because you should have grabbed them when you meant to have grabbed them. So
yeah, you've got many months. The VS Chill Inhibitor's got the bait and switch Envious Arsenal on it. And the Velocity Baton, I believe, is the role that had the destabilizing rounds and slick draw, but really destabilizing rounds on a area of effect grenade launcher is just great fun. Equipping giggle. Move on.
Yeah.
And now I'm wondering if the role I have is the one I kept from Banshee or if I actually had to drop at some point. Anyway, whatever the role is there, go get it because it is very good. And that was the point. It was Bungie, all of those roles were things where Bungie said, hey, you weren't able to get these roles because of the way, the perks were being bugged, where it was being handed out, where it was there was a chance, but it was a statistically meaningless chance. It was so small a chance. So they said, hey, here's a good batch of things. Go there, get them, enjoy them. And we have.
Like I said, I was kind of gone back and had a look at the stuff that I needed to do. And some of the stuff was like from Episode Echoes. And I needed some of those gems that you run through, you use your hammer, you pick it up. They're all scattered all over the place. And I'm only missing 2 kind of legendary 400 gram of these gems that we had. And you could either get them from, I think it was Breach Executable or the Battlegrounds, the Exotic Mission, or something else that was part of the Echoes. And I was doing the match-made expert versions of, I think it was it Breach Executable or Enigma Protocol? One of those two. I was running that, the expert version, to see if I could get some of these. And I did about 3 or 4, and I was like, it's not anywhere close. I'm collecting these things, and I'm not actually getting them to drop. So maybe I'm in the wrong kind of playlist to get those to drop. And going back now, it's quite hard to try and find what I'm now missing. I should have probably done it at the time. So now I'm kind of going back through videos and having a look at saying, well, people are saying you can get this one might specifically drop in, go and do like the Exotic Mission, the Encore Mission. I'm like, okay, so I've got to do a bit more research for this. So
I did the same thing this week because I was looking at my weekly triumphs looking at the weekly challenges and triumphs, going, what am I missing? Yeah, I'm missing one of the creatures from that whole episode, and yeah, I'm missing a couple of the rocks to pick up. So I was doing the same thing and doing the the harder match made ones, going, well, let's just see if I can get it to drop. Yeah, because I have no idea from which activity they come from. I'm like, well, let me just play this and see if it's just, do I need to play it a couple more times and get lucky? And I did. I got some things. I got some challenges completed. Got enough of something. I don't even remember what they were now. Something came up, but not the ones I was looking for, unfortunately. So, which does remind me, though. Speaking of completing challenges, I totally forgot. Earlier this week, Blue and Pan and I ran the Prophecy Dungeon, but did it in sort of a. We just did the easiest version because we're like, let's panning to the completion. We're just like, let's get this done. Knock the bounties out.
Yeah,
and then we can go back and do a harder version. 1, once we sort of refreshed ourselves, and 2, again, just sort of have the bounties done and get some of the collectibles. Sort of do that run first. Except we did it with the let's each pick a weapon slot and run it that way. So of course we had 3 Titans, 3 matching Titans with the insurmountable Skullfort on, matching shaders, and basically we each picked a weapon slot to run this. We started with the what is that rocket launcher that has now left my brain? The Wardcliff Coil, because one of my friends is a bad man. I won't name names. So the Wardcliff Coil was our heavy.
Yeah,
and then we ran the Tenacious Mastery in the primary slot, and then ran with the Prosecutor auto rifle in the energy slot. All three of us using that exact same build. And then basically using the insurmountable skull for basically with the Mactix build of you punch things, you get your life back. So ran it that way. I won't say that's the best way to do it, but we've certainly had a lot of fun.
I was going to say, did you giggle enough? That's the
we
best
giggled
way to do it.
Endlessly. We had so much fun because you will not remember how many rockets come out of that rocket launcher, and you think you can jump in, get out of the way of things. Nope, that last rocket is going to hit that half wall. You're going to put it into the back of somebody. It is absolutely, the word cliff coil is going to hit something you do not expect at any moment. So, if you are looking for things to do at the end of sort of the season and want to get some dungeon completions, put on the explore mode, grab two friends, and each of you select a slot. Give some thought to it. Don't run like double special so you're running around having to punch things all day, but everyone pick a slot and just say, here's what we're going to run. And then just laugh your head off, because we also got a whole slew of, I think we got completed dungeon with the same subclass, completed dungeon with the same character, and there was a third one, like completed dungeon, like all with the same, I think the same something else. So we got like 3 or 4 challenges done, or triumphs done, just by all dressing the same, looking the same, running the same thing. Because we were, again, all Arc Titan, all with the same exotic, all with the same everything else. So hey, if nothing else, it'll help you knock out some other things. It'll maybe help you get that number higher if you're still trying to compete on just pure numbers of triumphs. And yeah, it was just good fun. Like, we just laughed our heads off the number of times we blew ourselves up. Everyone's out there just going, that sounds like a terrible idea. Why would I want to hurt myself like that?
Yeah, to add a bit of spice. But yeah, this is the Echoes thing. I was like, I'd got the seal, so I've done all the triumphs to get the seal. But then looking back at the triumphs because you only have to do a minimum amount of different things for each seal. You don't have to do the full selection of everything. So I'd done everything for the seal, but then looking back on it, there's a ship that I can get if I collect all of those extremely rare gems. And I'm like I said, I'm missing the 2, and I'm like, well, I want the ship, so I've got to now.
He's motivated.
Yeah, now I've got to go back through and do all of that. I'm like, oh.
Try to figure out what you have to do exactly, or where this thing comes from to get this ship.
Yeah, and the same. I think with
now,
Revenant as well is the same kind of thing. I think I'm only one thing away from actually getting the seal, but it means that I've got to play a lot more on Sword Salvation. I played a lot, but I didn't play enough to kind of tick that box before Heresy came along. And then with Heresy, I still need to do Court of Blades. There's a few things in the Court of Blades that I need to do with giving tributes and dunking stuff. So I'm like, oh, okay. And then Blue's like, have you done all your challenges for your Bright Dust? I'm like, no, I still need to do that. But it's kind of silly little things as like equip an auto rifle and go and do this, or stun so many billion champions, or go to the EDZ and do all their bounties. I was like, oh, I will do that at some point. I'm going to get these things done now and, worry about other things in the future. But I've kind of just been, as I've been doing that, I've been going around to the vendors and going, oh, you've got like 99 engrams. Let's grab like 10 off of you at a time, dismantle them, and get as many kind of enhancement cores as I can.
Yeah. I was looking at that going, oh, you have to kill so many people with Banes. Oh, hey, you still need to reset your Vanguard rank for a second time because you just sort of forget Zavala's over there most of the time. And yeah, there's, I'm definitely using this last month as, hey, running dungeons and doing things when people are around, and if not, finding what random thing I can go try to finish up and hope I can, run the activity enough times to get the various materials to drop that I need, whatever they are. I don't even remember what they are now, but I remember looking them up going, let's see if I can find these. Let's see if I can figure out where to get any of this from.
Yeah.
That will be one nice thing come Edge of Fate is it'll draw a really nice dividing line between like newer and older YouTube videos going, okay, well, if your power level is like, 10 to 200, hey, that must be something new versus now where it's like, well, it says this, but that could be a year old, could be 4 years old. I'm not really sure where exactly we are here. We just had that thought the other day of the nice little dividing line of power being different and being able to sort of date a video and see if it's going to be useful before you sit down to watch the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah, that is going to be helpful going forward. I mean, the only thing that I'm not looking for looking forward to going forward is the rotations and what's actually happening with the rotations going forward. It's like, yeah, I get that, everything's now being moved to this portal system, but then how do you let people know what the rotations are going to be for X, Y, and Z, and what rotations we're going to be having? I mean, it's nice that we did get a bit of information in the TWAB this week about what's staying and what's going away. So that's going to be an interesting discussion. So
I was happy that they at least mentioned some of that, and I know they mentioned a handful of things coming back to the portal. So I'm hoping it's going to be similar to what we've been asking for, saying, "Hey, you've made all these great, wonderful activities, and then we played them for 3 months, and then they went away forever." So I'm really hoping there's sort of on the pile of ye old match-made activities, they're going to start bringing those back and cycling those through and saying, "Hey, remember this that was up years ago? We're going to bring it back for this week or this couple of weeks or for this month or however they're doing the rotations." I've seen people say some of them might be on a daily rotation. Some things might be different. It might just be, hey, old match-made activities. Here's 7. They're going to cycle through in the next week.
Well, while we're talking about that, should we tell people what's actually happening next week? Hopefully, what's happening next week. Crucible, touch and go. Apart from, I can say for definite, Iron Banner Control. I definitely don't know what the other mode is going to be. If it's the final mode, it should be Iron Banner Rift, because they promised us an Iron Banner Rift in this episode. So my hope is it's pinned on Iron Banner Rift, but they haven't said anything in the TWAB, which means I think they've forgotten about it. But I'm going to go with that for telling people what's happening this week in Destiny.
Ladies and gentlemen, place your bets.
Indeed. This is your weekly rundown of episode Heresy, week 20, starting on June 17th. This week sees all dungeons become available to play at any time on any difficulty in the new limited time event, Rite of the Nine, with increased currency drops active for all dungeons, and all Rite of the Nine weapons available for tuning. This week will also see the return of Valor Saladin, as he arrives in the tower for the 5th and final time this episode, bringing with him the Iron Banner. This is a week-long free-to-play Crucible event, which means there will be no Trials of Osiris at the weekend. Power level is disabled, meaning you can go into Iron Banner with whatever weapons and armor you would like. Iron Banner also brings with it challenges and a seal to become an Iron Lord. For episode Heresy, Iron Banner has now been broken up into 2 playlists, with each one replacing an existing node on the Crucible Director. Iron Banner Control will replace the existing Control node, and Iron Banner Quick Play will be the new home for Eruption, Fortress, Tribute, and Rift game modes in the Quick Play playlist. If you need a refresh or just want to know more about the Iron Banner, then check out our most recent guide. This episode's new weapon is the Arc Adaptive Frame Trace Rifle Warlord Spear, and returning weapon is the Stasis Adaptive Burst Sidearm Peace Bomb. Plus, we have a new weapon added to the loot pool for the latter part of this episode, introducing the new solo lightweight frame Scout Rifle Nature Reclaimed, rolling in the 3rd column with Outlaw, Killing Wind, Rapid Hit, Shoot to Loot, Lone Wolf, and Hill Clip. In the 4th column, Desperate Measures, Box Breathing, Explosive Payload, Incandescent, Precision Instrument, and Kill Clip. This episode's emblem is called Saladin's Pride, and shader is called Banner's Bearer. Episode Revenant brought with it the Iron Banner Memento, which you can put into your crafted weapons to gain access to the shader Iron Banner Keepsake, and title of Seaver's Bane. Plus, the Iron Intent armor set from episode Revenant is still earnable. And don't forget, this week is the last week to claim your reward track items and engrams from Lord Saladin and the Iron Banner. The Vanguard Onslaught featured map this week will be Midtown, with the Field Razor Tormentor kicking off the boss rotation. The Expert Battlegrounds will start this week's rotation with Delve. The Dreaming City this week is at a strong curse level, which means Petrovenge can be found in Ria Silvia and has the Dark Monastery mission for the next week. The Blindwell features Taken enemies and the Plague Mina. The Ascendant Challenge will be Ouroboros over in the Philion's Rest Lost Sector. On the Moon, the weekly story mission is in the Deep. The Trove Guardian and the Wandering Nightmare, Jacques, Claws of Zevra Wrath, are both located in the Hellmouth. Nightmare hunts Skolas, Pride, Omnigul, Anguish, and Zydron Servitude. The Altars of Sorrow will start this week's rotation with the Nightmare of Fogoth and the Blasphemer Shotgun. On Europa this week, Praxis the Technocrat will be the Empire Hunt, Cadmus Ridge will be the Eclipse Zone, and the Exo Challenge will be Safeguard. Dares of Eternity Expert difficulty rounds are Hive, Fallen, and Valister Arc. The Scatterhorn armor set and the Wild Hunt armor set will be available in Dares of Eternity with Weapon Set 1. Arsenic Bite 4B, Blasper 2, Corsair's Wrath, Deafening Whisper, Dire Promise, Enigma's Draw, Escape Velocity, Giant 7 Rifle, Friction Fire, Royal Chase, True Prophecy, and Timeline's Vertex. The Witch Queen weekly story mission is The Ritual, Altar of Reflections Catalyst, and Altar of Reflections Pact. The Wellspring activity will start the week on Defense, with Void Sniper, Father Sin, and Zurich, Scorn Raider as the boss. The Lightfall weekly mission is Desperate Measures, the Partition mission will be Hard Reset, and the Vex Incursion will be Liming Harbour. In the Pale Heart, the exotic mission Dual Destiny is still available for teams of 2 Guardians, where you can farm the mission to earn as many new prismatic exotic class items as you like. The Final Shakes cooperative focus campaign mission this week will be Ascent. The 12 Guardian Match-Made Excision mission is also available next to the race for a weekly pinnacle, with the Grandmaster version granting the Ergo Sum Catalyst and an Ascendant Shard. Also available for a weekly pinnacle is the Salvation's Edge raid, over in the Pale Heart, and new dungeon Sundered Doctrine, which can be found over on the Throne World, with the exotic linear fusion rifle Finality's Ager up for grabs, and a whole suite of new weapons and armour. Just make sure to visit Ikora over in the tower to pick up the quest Drowning Labyrinth to enter. The Salvation's Edge raid challenge this week is his second encounter, Dissipation, called At Capacity. The Root of Nightmares raid challenge this week is the first encounter, Cataclysm, called Illuminated Torment. The Kingsfall raid challenge this week is the fourth encounter, Daughters of Oryx, called Under Construction. The Vow the Disciple challenge this week is the second encounter, The Caretaker, called Base Information. The Deepstone Crypt challenge this week is the third encounter, Tanix Part 1, called Of All Trades. The Garden of Salvation challenge this week is the fourth encounter, Sanctified Mind, called 0 to 100. And the last Swiss challenge this week is the fourth encounter, Vault, called Keep Out. Featured Pinnacle Raid 1 will be Crota's End over in the Legends tab. And Featured Pinnacle Raid 2 will be the Vault of Glass, also in the Legends tab, with all challenges available for all encounters. With the exotic auto rifle Necrochasm being farmable from the final boss in Crota's End, and the exotic fusion rifle Vex Myth class from the final boss in Vault. Featured Pinnacle Dungeon 1 will be the Pit of Heresy on the Moon, and Featured Pinnacle Dungeon 2 will be the Ghost of the Deep in the Legends tab. The exotic mission rotator will be Presage, with the Dead Man's Tale exotic scout rifle being the main reward, the Season the Haunted, and opulent weapon sets, plus the Idolian Pursuant armor set. The exotic missions, the Whisper and Zero Hour, will also be available in the Legends tab. We have now had all of episode Heresy's challenges over the first 16 weeks of the episode. So, as a reminder, if you complete 108 out of 112, you can get a large pile of Bright Dust to spend at the Eververse store in-game. Lost Sectors, Tuesday Chamber of Starlight on the Dreaming City, Wednesday Hydroponics Delta on Neptune, Thursday Gilded Precept on Neptune, Friday Thrillerdome on Neptune, Saturday The Broken Deep in the Pale Heart, Sunday The Blooming Deep in the Pale Heart, and Monday Bunker E15 on Europa. The Grandmaster Nightfalls continue this week with our 20th featured Nightfall, which should see us face off against Darkblade Kalgroth in the Heist Battlegrounds Mars, with the Shadow Price Auto Rifle as the featured adept weapon. The 6v6 playlist will be Iron Banner Control, the 6v6 quick play mode should be Iron Banner Rift, Showdown should be in the small teams quick play, and Team Scorch should also be available, with no Trials of Osiris at the weekend. This week should also see bonus Vanguard ranks, and double Nightfall drops available all week long. And as we only have 4 more weeks of this current episode, here's what's going away when the Edge of Fate releases on July 15th. Starting with the 10th anniversary Seal and Title, Moments of Triumph 2024 Seal and Title, Act 3 of Heresy's Unknown Antechamber Chess Puzzle and Rewards, Act 2's activity the Court of Blades, Act 1's activity the Nether with its 3 modes, Exploration, Advanced, and Expert. From Act 3 of Revenant, the exotic mission Kel's Fall, where you can earn the Void exotic shotgun Slayer's Fang, and Prison of Elders challenge Kel's Vengeance. Act 2 of Episode Revenant's Tomb of Elders, and Contest of Elders. Act 1 of Episode Revenant's Onslaught Salvation, which has new defences, 3 maps that are not in the Vanguard playlist version, and new enemies to fight. In the Last City on the Helm, Episode Echo's 3 Battleground activities, Delve, Conduit, and Core, with Enigma Protocol and Breach Executable. Episode Echo's exotic mission Encore, where you can earn the Void exotic auto rifle Choir of One, and the Grandmaster Nightfall node, which gives Guardians the opportunity to complete their Conquest Seal for this episode, some of which are now not available. Warden of Nothing on the Dreaming City, Sunless Cell on the Dreadnought, Insight Terminus on Nessus, Psyops Battlegrounds Moon, Lake of Shadows on the EDZ, Scarlet Keep on the Moon, Hypernet Current on Europa, Heist Battlegrounds Mars, and the Psyops Battlegrounds Cosmodrome. To get you prepared for the Edge of Fate, now would be a good time to start hoarding completed vendor bounties that can carry over to the next expansion for XP and artifact progression. Also, don't forget to collect all of your episode Heresy pass items. Any items left over from episode Revenants pass on Bungie.net, plus your reward check items and engrams from Failsafe for episode Echoes, Ido for episode Revenant, and both shaping slabs for episode Heresy. Also, Banshee 44, Gunsmith, Shax, Crucible, Zavala, Vanguard, Drifter, Gambit, Saint 14, Trials, Rahul, Cryptarch, Hawthorne, Clan, and Zur at the weekend before the end of the episode, as they will reset and you will lose all items when the new expansion begins. Plus again, don't forget this is the last week to claim your items from Lord Saladin and the Iron Banner. collect your free 700 Bite Dust from the Eververse store each week up until the Edge of Fate begins. And don't forget to keep an eye on Zer this Friday at Reset to see if he's offering another chance to grab a random rolled exotic class item for 41 strange coins. And that's it for the 20th week of the Final Shape episode Heresy. So yeah, that's what's happening next week in Destiny. Hopefully, what's happening next week.
As far as we know.
One thing that I found that was really weird is that normally when you boot up Destiny on like the reset day on the Tuesday after they've kind of done their big update, you're normally hit with that huge banner that says, this is the weekly bonus. Or if you don't get hit with one, you know that it's trials at the weekend because that suddenly pops up on the Friday and you're like, it's going to be trials. For the last 3 to 4 weeks, I haven't had a banner. Have you?
No, I don't think I have either.
No, sometimes I think it's when you log on too quickly. Sometimes that's happened in the past. It hasn't kind of worked. But then I was like, okay, well, maybe there's no bonus, and I've just been telling people porcupines about what bonuses there are. But it turns out there are bonuses each week. It's just that they have now decided not to give you the banner pop up. So if you go to, I believe it's Crucible this week, and hover over just the node on the solar system, it says, oh, look, it's double Crucible rewards. It's like, or double XP this week. I was like, well, I thought I saw that the previous week. So I went back and checked with, I think it was Kyber on their website, because they also they do like that picture, the document of all the different things each week. And they put it on there for like the last 3 or 4 weeks. So I was able to go back and track. Was I right? Was I wrong? And what it's probably going to be this upcoming week. So yeah, we have had, I think there was 1 week where they didn't do one, but then every other week it's kind of actually just done the bonuses, but just hasn't told anybody what the bonuses are. And they've not done anything on Twitter. There's no being like, hey, get this kind of done this week because you can get your Gambit done. But like, no, it's like, oh.
Yeah, and yeah, indeed. When you hover over, you get Crucible boost. Certain activities have increased reward drops. Now, does it tell you which of the certain activities have them? Is it everything that's up besides private matches? Is it only certain ones? Yeah, so certain Crucible activities will give you things, but at least they tell you which group of icons you can click on.
This group.
Yeah, well, that's. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's one of those manual things where somebody has to like go and type in that pop up every week, and I guess just no one's doing that anymore. They're like, sorry, not a priority.
No,
but yeah, like
they've got other priorities. Let's face it. You know, there's more stuff going on. There's a big expansion coming. That's all that everybody's talking about is the big expansion now. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, I'm ready for it.
I suppose we better talk about, because this week at Bungie for the 12th of June, they go over the Nonu engrams in the Rite of 9 and what's coming with that, the more Edge of Fate previews, bounty info for preppers, Iron Banner Gambit discussion, and bounty for good starts tomorrow. So yeah, on the Friday. So we're recording this today. So it starts today that we're recording it. So we told you about it last week, so you should have got into it. So find your fire team of 2 and get going.
Yeah, and go, find your friend on the West Coast or in the UK, and you two can get into it, later on today. Will we have gotten into it? You'll have to find out next week, because we can't tell you, because that's the future. Though you're hearing this in the past, because time's weird.
It is.
Yeah. We have Rite of the 9 reward updates. We have lots of them, and I do appreciate them telling us when these things are happening more than once, not just going, hey, we're going to do this, and we're going to put it on Twitter, and then never speak about it again.
I mean, we still get comments in our Discord chat. It's like from different people. It's like, what is it this week? It's like, or I thought it was this week. And I was like, no, it's this week. So it's nice that because it's always there and they're now talking about it each and every week and reminding people, even people that listen to the show forget. So we have to keep reminding them. Yeah. Helpful.
Even people who talk on the show forget and also don't know, because it would be nice if you could go, I'm hoping maybe in the portal, they could do things like this, like, hey, this week, here's the things that are going to happen. So, when the 3rd dungeon completes rotation, we're entering the new phase of Rite of the 9, starting June 17th. So Tuesday, likely tomorrow as you hear this, all dungeons will be available to play anytime. And during that very week, all 3 will have increased currency drops. After that, each dungeon will rotate weekly and have a week of increased rewards. And they've not just told us that, they've given us a calendar. So right now, wherever you're hearing this, now to July 15th, you can completing all encounters in any Rite of the Nine dungeon in a single run will award extra drops from the final boss. So just complete it, extra drops, final boss. Done.
Single run, though. Single run. Just
single run.
Go through it all, the whole thing.
Yep, do it one. And it doesn't even say, no, it doesn't say what difficulty. Just complete it in a single run. Period, full stop.
Yep. Completing
all encounters in any Rite of the Nine dungeon at Eternity or Ultimatum difficulty in a single run will award an armor piece. Just the one. You get an armor piece out of it. Presumably.
But they're on a knockout list. So if you haven't got them already from those dungeons, you could get them on a knockout system. So each time that you complete it for each character, it's on a knockout system, and it will give you a piece of this armor once you've cleared it until you complete your set, and then it'll be random, obviously.
Yeah, but at least you should have your full set. So hopefully you've gotten them all now, or didn't get that one piece ages ago, deleted it, and now you want the full set. But once you've completed the set, now it's all random.
Yeah, and if you're wondering, like, why do I want the armor sets? Because, going forward, you were just telling me at the beginning of the show, all this stuff's going to be kind of converted, and why do I need those? You don't need those stats. Don't worry about the stats. If they're not high stats, dismantle it. But it will be available for transmog later, so you can still look cool with the new armor system. You'll still be able to transmog it.
Exactly. It's not about the stats. It's about how you look. The Destiny fashion game. That's the important part here.
Yep.
So now, starting on Tuesday, June 17th until June 24th, so that week, we're going to have increased currency drops active for all dungeons. So those are your nonary bits you're picking up that you've hopefully been saving and not dumping into every chest every week. So your currencies, just all across all the dungeons, those are increased. By how much?
Not weapons, don't get confused, just the nonaries.
Yeah, just the currency drops, your money. They're going to give you more money in your paycheck every week. Well, just the 1 week.
Yeah.
And then from June 24th, so after your currency, so from June 24th until July 8th, all dungeons are available and will have increased currency rewards and a chance for a weapon to drop from enemy kills. But
that's only from one dungeon for those 3 weeks.
Yes. Yeah, so from those 3 weeks. And also increased loot from the final boss chest when completing all encounters in the feature dungeon. So now, for the week of June 24th, now again, 1 week per dungeon, you get all those good things. June 24th, you need to do Spire of the Watcher. Week of July 1st, Ghost of the Deep. Week of July 8th, Prophecy. So, big rewards, big drops, extra things. 1 dungeon per week. Put on your calendar now. Find a time to do it in one run. And then they've added this new. So, did we know about this before? I don't know, but we know about it now.
It's new.
Starting on June 24th, the emissary will offer a handful of exotics for players looking to round out their exotic weapon arsenal. More will be added each week through the Age of Fate launch. So what exotics are we adding? I don't know. How are they going to be purchased? We're going to have currencies. What are they going to be? Don't know.
Going to be existing exotics that are available maybe in the world that kind of drop that people haven't been able to get, kind of thing. I don't see this as go here, pick a quest up, go and do one of these 3 dungeons, and you'll get, say,
another dungeon exotic that maybe you've been trying to get, then it just won't give you. Maybe
possibly. Like the Icebreaker, yeah. So if you haven't got like Icebreaker from Warlord's Ruin, no, not Warlord's Ruin.
Okay, now I'm forgetting which dungeon is which in my head.
It's the one in space.
I'm just hoping for a buried bloodline from the Warlord's Ruin. If you could give me a way to do that would be lovely. I'd be a big fan. Icebreaker comes from the Vespers host dungeon. I was like, I don't know why I couldn't think of those words, but yeah. So I'm hoping beyond hope that they will give us different dungeon exotics. It's probably just18, things from the pool, things from I doubt it'll be anything that's had an exotic mission or anything for it. It may just be, hey, this Xur hasn't sold this in 1,000 years. Is it any good? Don't know, but we'll throw it in the loot pool anyway.
Yeah,
but either way, since. Because even though, again, your exotics aren't going to be a 1-to-1, like move over into Edge of Fate, you will have those 20 currencies to take those exotics and make them, the new versions. Or if nothing else, if you are a newer player or just, deleted all of your whatever exotics and now you're thinking, oh, I wish I had this with a good roll. Maybe this is your chance to get some of those back. So yeah, so we're going to see some batch of exotics coming starting in June 24th until the Edge of Fate. And then finally, we have from July 8th until the 15th, that's when our Lootapalooza will begin. So if you've just been zoning out this the whole time, or going, hey, I'll do the dungeons later, Lootapalooza that final week, increase currency rewards and weapon drops from all enemies in all dungeons, and new, even more increased loot from the final boss chest when completing all encounters. So our Lootapalooza is going to somehow be Lootapalooza-er.
Can you get Lootapalooza? Is it like you can be whelmed or underwhelmed or just whelmed? Don't know.
I don't know. But I mean, there's going to be even more loot. Now,
is it the nonary engrams though? Is this the secret loot that we're talking about? Is this even more extra stuff?
We're going to find out, because we're going to introduce nonary engrams. Ooh. So starting on July 1st, a new item will be available, Night Demon, the Emissary Nonary Engram. It's going to be filled to the brim with hand-picked cosmetic rewards spanning multiple years of Destiny 2 content. Some are newer, like the Hollow Chips. Hollow Chips.
Yeah.
Always want to call them Hollow Clips for some reason. And some are a blast for the past, like Crimson Day emotes. Closest I'm ever getting to Crimson Days again. Yeah. So how do you actually earn them, Night Demon?
I don't know. Let's have a look. So starting July 1st, players may purchase nonary engrams using 350 nonary manfolds at the Emissary, up to 20 during Rite of the Nine. So you can only get 20. So hopefully, if you've been saving stuff, it gives you something you don't have. So if I've already got all the Crimson Day emotes, it won't give me those. It will give me something I don't have. And hopefully it's just not batches of hollow chips, because I don't really want them. I want other stuff. But 350. So is it at the moment, if you want to get a weapon, it's 250. So it's an extra 100 on top of that. So 350 at the Emissary, up to 20. And you can get some of those hand-picked cosmetics. And then starting July 8th, that'll be the final week, players will be awarded one additional nonary engram each day for just signing in. So just turn it on, sign in, and get it. And that's what you get. So you get extra. So you could get 20 over that whole course of just throwing your nonary manifolds at the Emissary. And then you get additional ones for that last week of just logging in. And then make sure you claim them from the Emissary by the end of the week. And we're not talking about wait until July 15th, because let's face it, the game will be going down for quite some time on July 15th, probably half the day. So if you wake up on the East Coast, it'll probably be down by the time you wake up, kind of thing, because that's how they roll. So it'd be around, I reckon it'd probably be between midday and 2:00 in the afternoon in the UK. So adjust your time zones accordingly, but it's going to be down for quite some time to kind of load up that new expansion. So get it done before. I mean, log in and get it, but just make sure that you get all your stuff before that date.
Yep, exactly. As with all big expansions, don't think I'm doing anything the last day. Or honestly, the last 2 days, give yourself time. Don't think, hey, I'm going to do this because they may do the background maintenance. So the last day or two, get ready for the big downtime. Don't wait till the very end and think, oh, I'm going to finish this up, or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to go collect all my things or turn these in, because maybe no, you're not. The game's going to go down, and you're going to be sad, and then you're going to have to wait until it comes back up, and then we'll be in the edge of fate.
We will.
Just around the corner. So speaking of the edge of fate, we have another batch of videos from people who went to go see Bungie.
Okay. Were there any interesting ones that we haven't kind of already talked about?
Dado went and visited Bungie Land. We sort of talked about what he had to say last week. I don't think there was, rolling through my notes here, I don't think there was anything. He did sort of ask, sort of what's the how big is this DLC sort of based on scale, and sort of the scale of the Forsaking Curse of Osiris. Asking, it's hard to measure, but the new destination Kepler feels about the same size as the Dreaming City, though very different in design. The campaign is also one of the longest in Destiny's history, with about 14 to 15 missions of varying lengths. And I think he and I think Mactix have both sort of said the campaign, sort of some of the typical longer, campaign missions like we're used to. Go do this, campaign mission and see what, work your way through it. And some of them are going to be sort of sub missions or side missions, where it's like there's three pieces to, like three smaller, shorter, quicker pieces. Maybe it's a puzzle, maybe it's something else you sort of have to go do. But in the campaign, it's also not linear. So if you're saying, oh, I don't want to go do this puzzle solving bit right now. I'd rather do this with a friend. You can sort of jump around, and the missions aren't going to be entirely linear of do this one, then this one, then this one. You'll have a little more freedom of how you want to play them.
Yeah.
They've all talked about, just the different movement mechanics, the different matter spark and the relocator cannon and things like that. Just how sort of puzzle heavy some of these campaign things are going to be. So it's not just stand in a room and murder the things till they stop moving. There could be a good number of puzzly bits.
There's going to be that going on, and you're going to be trying to figure out a puzzle at the same time, kind of thing.
Yep,
or you could just wipe out everybody and then figure out the puzzle, and then you get more enemies come in. That's how it normally works, isn't it? You do the next bit and then spawn more enemies. But yeah, you don't like that. I mean, yeah, it's a lot of the stuff that we were discussing last week, where we said go and check out the content creators because they have more than what was mentioned in the TWAB and what we actually mentioned as well. Because I think we highlighted a couple of their videos where I think it was Matt Tix did that deep dive with the game director Tyson Green, and Mr. Ruffle Waffles did an interview with the narrative and game directors. So Bungie themselves have highlighted these. If you've missed them, this is what's kind of around. Waller did like the new hand cannon and PvP duel with Benny, and Rick Kakis did the top 5 upcoming changes. All the kind of spoiler friendly warnings that no stories revealed, but a lot of the system info is there. So if you don't want to be spoiled about those kind of things, then don't watch them.
Yeah, and the other things I'll spoil for you, because Mr. Raffle Waffles talked sort of a lot about the story in the chess event, and sort of like the big, there wasn't a whole lot of like, oh, how does this work? His Q&A was a lot of like just big overall questions, like how did you approach this? What was your theory behind some of this? Benny got into sort of more of the PvP side of things, which I know people are going to be interested / nervous to hear about. Health is now a flat 230 for all Guardians in the Crucible, which I think is up from, I couldn't tell you what it is right now, but, so everybody gets a flat 230 health in the Crucible, and obviously you can play with your stats to make other, resistances and things higher and lower. 100 points provides a 10% flinch reduction that you can spec into, for your health. Higher health stats both increase the speed of regeneration and the delay in starting your regeneration, or, decreases the delay. So, if you want to go into Crucible, max out that health stat, both the speed of your regeneration is increased, and it shortens the delay in starting your regen. Because there were some questions about, what does this do to my regeneration in the Crucible now? Also talked about on the tier 5 legendary armor, the sort of the tuning. We heard about these like tuning slots you could have on that armor. And there's, I guess, going to be sort of 2 different ways you can approach the tuning. One is sort of a balanced tuning, which gives you, sort of a little boost to 3 of your lowest stats. So the example you had on screen was sort of it adds 1 to the 3 lowest stats on that armor piece. And there's another one that I apparently have not put the name in here. I guess it's basically plus minus tuning. I don't remember what they call it. But basically you can add a +5 to 1 slot, but you're taking 5 from another stat slot to sort of, be able to say, or I think focus tuning is what they call it. So there's a focus tuning where you can say, give me 5 more in this and take the 5 away from that. So again, it's not just, we're not just purely adding numbers to places. We're making some decisions on, hey, do I want to do a balanced tuning, give everything a little boost, the lower stuff, or do I want to make this thing better at the expense of something else? So again, just talking about Bungie getting into the build crafting and actually having to make decisions, not just everything to 100 and calling it good.
Yeah. So those are the videos that they've highlighted for you to kind of go and check out. And then next we have bounties, 2 gear experts, and a shooting range. So as with every kind of year, you have the YouTubers and everybody saying like, you can do bounty prep to kind of boost your XP and your artifact progression. So when we get into whatever expansion or episode, that if you save up or you do your bounties and you hoard them on your characters and don't turn them in, that when the new expansion drops and you get your artifact, if you then start dropping all of your bounties or turning them in, as well as you kind of making sure you've got your XP on your ghost going and you're in a fire team with buddies so that you can use the fire team booster as well, you get more XP to then progress your reward track on your either your free or your paid reward track for that episode or season, and the XP on your artifact. So doing all 3 characters and maxing them out, like it's about 50 bounties that you can kind of get and prep and complete and then turn them in for each character. It's about 150. you get to about level, I want to say about 10 on your reward track, and maybe about 5 or 6 on your XP track to unlock like your mods that you want for various different things and your builds. So that's the reason why we do kind of, a lot of people do the bounty prep. I stopped a long time ago because I realized, because I play the game, quite a lot, that yes, I mean, it would be handy to do the bounty prep, but I don't have that much time leading up to the expansion. So I'm like, I'll just play the game, and as it comes, I'll just do it. But you can still do it. And with the Edge of Fate, many bounties, such as destination bounties, will continue to exist, because they did say at some point when they were converting, how we have like Crucible, Gambit, and Vanguard now is I can't remember the name of it on the director.
Oh, the Pathfinders?
The Pathfinders. So yeah, when Bungie decided they were going to transition into the Pathfinders for Gambit, Vanguard, and Crucible, they took away bounties from those specific vendors. And that was how you kind of progressed your XP. You got your Bright Dust and various different rewards from that. So they converted those, and they did say, they do say every single time that we come to an expansion or we come to like a DLC, they're like, oh, we're removing X, Y, and Z, so you won't be able to do bounty prep. And don't think that you'll be able to do bounty prep forever. But they have kind of told us in the TWAB this week that you can still do some of your bounty prep, and it is pretty much the same bounty prep that I would recommend to people kind of go and do. So as we kind of recommended in the video this week and the previous week, you can go to the EDZ, you can go to the Cosmodrome, you can go to the Nessus failsafe, go to the Dreaming City Petrovenge, the Moon, Eris Morn, and the Lectern of Enhancement. Europa, you can visit Varix. Throne World, you can visit Finch, Neomuna, Nimbus, Eternity, Zer and the Star Horse, the clan bounties, which is Sarai Hawthorne, if you're in a clan, because those ones are really good, because you can get really beefy XP plus bounties. As long as you're in a fire team, you can complete them. And some of those rotate weekly. So what you'll find is if you go to the Cosmodrome and speak to Shorhan, you can pick up some of the weekly bounties that he has. And say you do like the 2 weekly bounties for each character, so you've got 6 there. You may go back the next week and he's got a different version of that weekly bounty, which will give you XP plus, or I think it might be XP plus. And the same with Petrovenge on the Dreaming City. She has ones that kind of rotate. So that's why we kind of say bounty prep now, because there's about 3 or 4 weeks that they have their different weekly bounties that give you XP plus, which are higher than some of the other, just like the daily ones, which are just XP. So those will still be available. Armor Synthesis bounties from Ada 1, they are changing, but you can still do those, and those give you XP as well. So what is leaving is Trials of Osiris bounties that you can pick up each Friday that when Trials arrives, and do those within Trials. The Gunsmith, those bounties that he has for kind of doing the weapons testing sort of thing, and the episode vendors, which always go away. So Failsafe on the Helm and the Apothecary Ido. But that's what they mention is going away. So Heresy stuff, I mean, I can't remember if did they have bounties at the Shaping Slab? Because they didn't mention the Shaping Slab. But normally the episodic stuff like the Shaping Slab would also still go away.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming episodic vendors, I'm assuming Eris and the Shaping Slab and things are sort of lumped in with that. Basically, everything at the Helm and Eris's apartment, I assume, is all part of the episodic content that's going to be leaving.
Yeah, normally we say steer clear away from kind of anything that's episodic that is getting towards the end of the year, that we're going into a new expansion and new DLC. Because, as I explained a couple of weeks ago, it's like they will clear out the Helm, or they will clear out be the Last City now, because it's part of the Helm where it crashed. So it's like they will clear that out, and that will be that was the place where they would then put vendors over time. So you'd get the failsafe vendor to start off with in the Helm, then the Helm crashed into the Last City, and then we have the Apothecary for the next episode, and then we had Eris with the third. So that is normally kind of cleared out, and it is still going to be cleared out. But the changes are kind of Trials of Osiris and the Gunsmith. So people would still kind of do their Trials of Osiris and their Gunsmith and hoard those bounties. Those are actually going away, so you don't need those. But the good ones to actually get are the clan bounties if you're in a clan, because they give you the XP plus. And I think some of the Petra ones also do on the Dreaming City, and the ones on the Cosmodrome with Shorhan. So yeah, go and check those out if you want to kind of do the bounty. But it does help if you are playing the game, pick them up and save them, because there's no harm. At the end of the day, if you can do them and you are on those locations doing those bounties, you might as well pick them up, hold on to them. Then when we get to the new expansion and you get your artifact, make sure you get your artifact before you kind of pop any of these things. And like Peroty was saying, if you are going to pick them all up to kind of fill up your inventory, you're going to have to pop a couple to make space for quests and story elements of the new expansion. So maybe not go up to the max. It does tell you on the bounty screen how many quests and how many bounties you can all have at the same time. I think it's up to 63 of quests and bounties per character. So just be careful what you kind of go up to. Maybe just go up to 60, so you've got 3 on each character. So that's still quite a lot of bounties and quests that you can kind of hold to get going in the new expansion.
Yeah, and it was nice of them. There's that list of destinations. Don't mess with the shaping side of things you're not sure about. There's such a list of things. Hey, here's what will be staying, will be available. If you're going to bounty prep and bounty hoard, use the ones you're going to be sure about. Don't do it to then lose the XP. Or say, I'm just going to hoard these and we'll see what happens, because it just doesn't matter that much. But yeah. 8-1's got a new job. They mentioned her changing below. Our gear experts with new duties. She is one of our greatest fashion vendors and is getting new duties in the Edge of Fate when it launches. Don't worry, she will keep the bounties available so players who can earn the necessary materials to unlock your armor customization currencies, but they have been simplified, removing activity-specific requirements and introducing flexible, activity-agnostic objectives for optional paths and progression modifiers. With one exception, your raids and your dungeon bounties will remain as they are now. So, raid and dungeon things have to come from the raids and the dungeons. Everything else, they're not going to throw you into Gambit or Crucible or anything particular. Just go play, go earn things, go unlock transmogs, look beautiful.
Yeah.
She will also be providing a way for players to focus exotic armors at the Edge of Fate launch. As we announced last week, players are given an amount of currency to focus armor pieces with a specific stat package as they embark on their journey into the Year of Prophecy.
I think we did discuss that last week, wasn't it? It was something like about 20 exotic passes that you can then go to her and say, I want that, but I want a specific kind of role, because when the old exotics transfer into the new system, they may not be able to guarantee the stats that you want in that kind of specific slots, basically, because they can't transfer what we've currently got at the moment. You imagine all those people across all of the Destiny 2 with all different stat rolls of their exotics balance in the new system, whereas they said they were kind of looking at the exotics and leaning more into, say, like with the syntheseps, the stats would heavily rely on melee and other things that would help that kind of build. So they won't be able to do that for your one, especially if you had a pair of syntheseps that had no melee on it, but the rest of your build did pack it out to 100. So yeah, there's a lot of complicated behind the scenes, timey-wimey, spaghetti looping parts to that, which is why they're giving you these currencies to help you pick and choose what you want going forward.
Yeah, and Bungie basically said, we're going to take the exotic armors and basically sort of give them a stat package that makes sense, for what they are. So again, for syntheseps, something built into melee, it's going to have sort of a melee themed stat package. And they do have a screenshot showing sort of, when you do go to focus, like it'll say, focus previously discovered exotics with the Paragon archetype, guaranteeing a super as a primary stat and melee as a secondary stat. So, you'll be able to say, presumably, hey, it'll have this archetype on it, which, see our show last week or last week's TWAB for what all those new archetypes are. And then, which 2 stats, one will be your primary stat, one will be your secondary stat. So it'll have, bigger spikes in the primary, obviously smaller in the secondary. And they do specify you must have played Destiny 2 prior to July 15th to receive the currencies. So to be a, quote, existing player, basically, get the game a week early. It's free to play, download a week early, buy your expansion. If you're starting July 15th or afterwards, you're not going to get these 20 currencies. They're just going to throw you in fresh as a new kindergarten. So but they do but they cut off literally like the day of, like, hey, play a day early, which realistically a couple days early, because again, servers will go down to get those new currencies, and then you can get some new exotic to start off with.
Yeah, I mean, even if you've been away for a period of time, just log on, get the game kind of refreshed to say, oh yeah, I have logged in recently, and then I can get these 20 free exotic roles that I can kind of go and choose. Because if you do it afterwards, yes, you'll still be able to get access to the exotics and and be able to get exotic drops in the game. It's just it'll be a little bit harder for you. So yeah, do that.
Yeah, they're going to give you 20 shots at something. Might as well take them. And our forgetful gunsmith, Banshee 44, will also receive an update so he can help Guardians out, round out their collections with legacy gear. If there are any legacy weapons you're looking for to complete your arsenal, or are a new player in need of some initial gear, or you're simply looking for a handful of weapons to start the Edge of Fate with desirable perk rolls, Banshee will offer legacy weapons for purchase. All will come with a small cost of some enhancement cores and glimmer, and they don't say how much, but so I guess we're going to have some sort of hand-picked, bespoke, small batch collection of weapons that maybe it's one you threw out years ago, maybe it's something
episodic
you just want to try.
Stuff. Yeah, it might be episodic stuff that's gone away that you can then still be able to go to Banshee and go, oh, what's he got today, kind of thing.
Yeah, and they do say desirable perk roll, so it should be presumably something the community enjoys and maybe has been asking for. Maybe.
Yeah. And we get access to the shooting range on day one. So if you want to go and test these new weapons that we're getting, or even old weapons to see how they stack up against the new stuff, the shooting range is going to be coming day one of the Edge of Fate. So we've all seen the footage. If we've seen the footage, they say we've seen the footage. It's a big room where you can have many enemies and many enemy types on which you can test abilities, supers, weapons, and their perks. So while their initial plans were to start this launch in a new area in the tower 3 weeks after the expansion launches, they've changed their minds. So you'll be able to test your builds starting July 15th, and that's day one. So there you go. Changed. New stuff. Good. Up to date. Done.
Excellent. Now, do you feel special, Night Demon? Because I feel special because they specifically talked about
called you and me out.
Things.
I get called out first, and then you get called out second. So
I'm not sure if we're going to be happy about how they've called us out, but they have called us out specifically.
Yeah,
with the Iron Banner in the Edge of Fate. So Edge of Fate launches July 15th, as we know.
Yeah,
Iron Banner will be on hiatus for a time. After centuries of non-stop work, Saladin will be taking a well-deserved break and will return with his PvP game mode to the tower in September when Ash and Iron, the major update, arrives. So that's not so long from July to September.
No, but it's going away. And when they say going away or going on hiatus, there have been several things that have gone on hiatus in the game, and then I'm still waiting for it to come back kind of thing. It's like, oh, you took out the Crucible maps, you're going to adjust those. They're going to be away for a short period of time. Some of them haven't come back. And I'm like, okay, that was a long hiatus. But hopefully, Ash and Iron, which is Plaguelands, the Iron Lords kind of thing. So hopefully it'll come back and look new, even if the gameplay is very similar. If Iron Banner Rift doesn't turn up next week, maybe they'll have it back then. Just saying.
Yeah. I mean, mark your calendars. They do say he will return with his PvP game mode in September. Mm-hmm. So presumably we are getting it in September in some form. What version, what flavor, what story beats might it include, we'll see.
Yeah.
But until then, if you are feeling that itch, Night Demon, they are going to have a variety of game modes available. So for starters, Heavy Metal will be coming back as an event in the future.
Okay.
Now, Bungie, we assume that means in the future before September, if you're sort of telling us about this to satiate us until it returns. Also, starting July 29th, Trials will have new weapons and armor as you prove yourself every weekend through September. And we'll have further updates on the TWID on more PvP, playlist updates, and they'd also like to call it their new playlist coming week 1, the Edge of Fate Cutting Edge. So that's the one where only new gear and exotics and weapons can be used. So I'm glad you kept your old things forever. You can't use any of those because Cutting Edge only allows featured seasonal weapons, armor, and exotics to be used against your opponents. So this will be a fun space not only to test out newer gear, but to focus up on the meta in some different ways. We're excited to see which weapons rise to the top, what builds players come up with outside the tried and true exotic pairings that we commonly see today. I mean, that's a little bit of what people have been asking for.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that existing exotics won't be allowed in there. I'm sure existing exotics like pairings of Last Word and Lucky Pants will still be available, but the rest of your weapons and your armor have to kind of be part of the cutting edge kind of thing.
Yeah, it's funny how they say featured. Now are these, and are we going to have a, again, because the exotics are going to come forward, are you going to say, hey, these exotics are not the featured seasonal ones, so they don't belong in here? Yeah. I'm hoping that's what that means. Is you're going to roll in with all new gear, and sort of give people a reason to play with some of the new stuff. Again, if you're good, you're going to be good with whatever you're doing. It's not like this is going to hamper you. You maybe said that you can't bring your tried and true weapon in, but you're going to be able to bring something in that you've gotten good because you're good and you've got, a nice new arsenal of things to play with, which, it should hopefully tweak the meta a bit. And you'll still be able to play with all your existing gear and all of the other, trials and competitive and everything else that exists.
Yeah, and I know they said that also starting July 29th, Trials of Osiris returns, and that is literally 3 weeks. So we've got the 15th, the 22nd, and then the 29th. So Trials, unless they've changed it, it's going to be a weekly thing, probably won't return to the 1st of August. So I think they're just saying July 29th because it's that week of. So should be the 1st of August that it returns. And then, then they decided we're not just going to upset Night Demon, we're also going to upset Peroty this week as well and talk about Gambit in the Edge of Fate, because that is also going to have a little bit of a hiatus, sort of. From reading it, it's still going to be there and playable, and you'll still be able to go to see Uncle Drifter and get things that are legacy anyway. But that's about it. It's not kind of being updated or triumphs and things like that. They're going to kind of do something. So they say it's not the end of Gambit. Besides continue to support the mode for legacy and reward triumphs, they've plans to bring a spotlight to Gambit back in the future with updated rewards and mechanics that players haven't seen since the days of Prime. And I'm guessing, like we were mentioning last week, with the armor sets that we've now kind of got, maybe we're going to get those armor sets revisited with Gambit, and that's why it's being put on hiatus. What do you reckon?
That's my hope, because they have talked about Savathûn Spire and the coil, coming back as sort of like in the portal, since the portal will have a place for, hey, here's what's up this week, here's what's in the different sort of playlists they can funnel you into. It's not like this needs to be an activity that lives in the Gambit node forever and ever forever. They'll be able to cycle things in and out. So I'm hoping that Gambit Prime and the Reckoning, if I can hope beyond hope, are going to be some of those things that they cycle through either as as a time limited event. Hey, this is up for this week, or hey, or if it is that weekly rotation of, hey, it'll be the Spire this week, and it'll be Savathûn's next week, and it'll be the Gambit the week after that, and Reckoning. So I'm hoping they'll be able to sort of incorporate that into that system, since we already have, armor with sets on it, with the perks on it, and that was there's definitely the DNA of this new stuff in those Gambit Prime armor sets that we've been going, hey, remember those? Bring those back to us. So I'm hoping they'll be there. And honestly, Gambit's still going to be in the in the World tab, which is where our director is going. And they say, oh, it's not going to get many updates or not going to get much love. And I'm like, and that's different how?
Yeah.
From what we had. I mean, other than adding some enemy types and tweaking a little bit. I mean,
and like the reward track items that you can get for just going through Gambit, maybe that's not going to be updated, but you can still go into Gambit and earn older things, or all the legacy stuff. So anything up to July 15th will be kind of legacy. So if you've missed out on shaders or weapons or anything like ghost thingy majiggies, the shiny things that they put on the ghosts, I don't know what they called, you can have the little light above it.
The little hats. I can't think what they're called. I was going to say ornaments, but no. Those things.
Yeah, those things. Anything that you've kind of missed from the reward tracks over years. I mean, I've gone and played Gambit when I have. Sorry?
Projections, that's the word.
Projections, that's the word, yeah. We play this game, honestly. Yeah. I just don't put the projections on. Anything I've kind of missed, never change them. I can go and play Gambit, and suddenly you'll get something to drop, and it'll say, oh, okay. But yeah, it'd be really nice to see something like Gambit Prime or even the Reckoning come back. And we've had so many different kind of seasons where we've had like a season 6-player activity where like we had that Saint 14 with the thingy of time. I can't remember the name of it. You always remember it, but I can't remember it. The sundial thing.
So sundial, things like that's what I was trying to think of along with the Spire. Yeah, because I mean, and all those things, the menagerie, all these time limited activities, or again, we played for 3 months or less, and then have gone away. I'm hoping that all of those are going to be fair game to cycle through again, daily, weekly, whatever the rotation turns out to be. I'm hoping we're going to
it'd be nice if they did something like that incorporated it into Gambit when Gambit came back, so that you had to go and do like the Reckoning, or you had to do the Sundial to get the armor to drop. So, like we were going over last week with, you have to go and play Crucible to get that Crucible set, or you have to do the Pinnacle activities to get the Pinnacle set to drop, and all those different names that we went over last week and what they actually do. So the Gambit would actually have a specific kind of playlist or specific activities that were active, maybe weekly or fortnightly, that would actually come up, and you could go and play and get the Gambit armor from, which would be interesting to go and do. Not just like, we've got the Reckoning and the Reckoning is here and you just go and play that to get the armor, because I think that's what made it stale for some players and hard for Bungie to kind of keep adjusting the different damage values and the power creep, as they put it. So if it had different things that people could kind of do and it was rotated, which would be quite interesting to be able to go and do to get your armor. And then if you didn't quite get it that week, you could go and play a different activity the next week, and it's not very stale. It's kind of on a rotation, maybe like 4 or 5 different things that just be interesting to see if they do and what they do to bring it back.
Yeah, I was sort of going back and forth in my head of what would be more enjoyable, assuming if it is only one thing. I've been thinking sort of it's sort of one slot for a rotator. But yeah, there's so much old seasonal content that, again, they built and we played and then it just left. It'd be nice if there was, if there'd be a couple things, whether it be a weekly rotate or a daily rotate. It'd be lovely to have those up. Even if it's every week, these 2 old activities are up, so you could do A or B and just have them available for the week, and then they'll go away until the next time we have them up. I think that'd be, again, we've talked about for how long of, hey, cycle back through all this old content that, you built, we played, we enjoyed, and then you just have it gone forever. It's a nice mix between, if it's up all the time, like, I can't tell you the last time I visited Nessus, except in the Strike playlist. I'm not going to go to Nessus for anything. But there's like the original event, Vex event, and you still see the Vex on the moon, from way back in that story beat years ago. You could go play some of those events or get access, even if it's not, access to those same weapons, but access to, something specific for that event, for that content. Let me go play that again. It'd be nice to change it up for those of us who have played it to sort of remember it and either enjoy it again, or those who haven't, play it for the first time. It's just, just like all the maps, you have this massive backlog of things you've built, and maybe they need some work to get updated or whatever, but it's built, it's there, it exists in some form, presumably. Give us access to it. Let us play it.
I mean, it would be nice if, like, going off topic here, but if, like, locations did change. So, like, with the Dreaming City, we have the 3-week curse cycle. That, I'm presuming, will still continue so that people can kind of go there and do their triumphs and challenges and things like that. But that is in the game, and it changes the landscape of the world and what you can kind of do in the world for, like, your bounties and things like that. And it would be nice, like, maybe if the moon had different rotations of, like, the Vex portals opening up a lot more kind of one week, or the Cabal have invaded another week to kind of take out the hive, and then maybe like different things on the EDZ that have kind of tied in with different story beats. It would just be nice to have cycles on the planets that just gave you different enemies to fight or different encounters when you go there. So you would need to be aware of what cycle that that planet is on that week. Whereas the cycle for the Dreaming City because of the locations of Petra, because she's in a different location for each cycle. But then I'm not saying move Shohan around, but I'm saying just give us a little bit of, give something different to the locations to just make them interesting when you do go there.
Yeah. I mean, give us a reason to return. Because again, I can't tell you the number of places I haven't been back to in forever because there's just no reason to. But if it's on a, that's why I really enjoy Iron Banner so much. It's time delayed. It's only up for a week here and there. So when it's up, I go play it. When it's not, I do other things. Don't give me the buffet of everything. Let me go play things when they're available. So Iron Banner mentioned, Gambit mentioned. We'll see what the future holds for both of our lovely playlists.
Well, at least yours isn't going away.
Yeah, I mean, no more than it has been. But like, it's still there. It's
nice that you've got a bit of, and it needed a bit of recognition that there still will be a focus to that pillar of Destiny 2, which is nice. I mean, it's needed some kind of focus, and for them to say, right, we're not going to update anything going forward for the next 3, it will be 3 months, won't it? Or even 6 months, that, it'll come back and something will be added to it. There will be some reason to go and play it. It's just not like it's there as part of the challenges and the triumphs for this episode or season.
Yeah, exactly. So our Bungie Bounty for Good has started and has ended by the time you hear this. Congratulations for getting your emblems, or not.
Looks very nice. I just know now who to avoid in the Crucible if they have one of these.
You've done well. Congratulations. And now we have What's Broken, What's Fixed, Player Support Report. Let's see what's on our list this week. I'm excited to get a whole new list of things here in a month of what's going to.
Oh, you know it's coming. You know it's coming. They're just going, right, anything that was now is gone. But yeah.
The Shriekers we're no longer going to tell you about. So let's see. This week, so the Ascension aspect isn't working with certain armor mods and exotic armors. It just doesn't feel like it. Crystals made by the Rhymecoat Raiment exotic chest don't reliably grant Devour, while Feed the Void is equipped. Your enhanced recycled energy gets no energy back. They've enhanced it all the way out. The champ title has lost its gilded status again. It doesn't want to be gilded. Just be a champ once. You don't need to be a repeat champ. It's fine. Your ambient dialogue with the vendors, still a thing. Drowning Labyrinth Quest 6 and 9, still broken. Derealize exotic mission, taking relic can still drop during the risk encounter through the floor. Our Shrieker bosses in the Sunder Doctrine still seeing critical damage numbers. You're not. It's actually regular base damage. Drowning Labyrinth Quest, still broken. Still can't get through certain parts of it. Sometimes the Tomb of Want of Primer Quest doesn't progress after step 3 and 4. And also, you can lose your Tomb of Want, unrelated to Bungie's list.
Okay.
I realized I had lost the Tomb of Want on my Titan. It just wasn't there. I mean, I could go back and like, reclaim it, pick it back up. But I was going to look and I was like, why don't I have a tomb? I'm going, no, this is the character I've actually done the season with. Like, the Warlock doesn't have it because he hasn't done the seasonal anything. But I had it on the Titan. It just vanished. So if you two are missing your Tomb of Want, it can be reacquired. But that's just a weird thing that can happen. Also, your Memento shaders, you can preview them on our armor. Still no plans to bring them there. And your Seeking Filaments and Spirit of Filaments cannot grant Devour while the Facet of Protection is equipped. Because it doesn't want to. So that's what's broken.
Yeah.
Now, they did fix some things this week in update 8.2.6.4.
No way.
We got on June 10th. So, right of the 9, the Emissary should no longer randomly duplicate in the 9 realm. Her will is not her own. Yet. They fixed an issue where the 9 realm, where the lift to the Ghost of the Deep would not activate if you did not complete the Spire of the Watcher the previous week. So all lifts will be active for the remainder of the event. Enjoy the changing landscape. So if you've been one of the people who can't get up to any of the additional chests to claim them, now you can. They've fixed all the lifts. They've worked overtime. The lift operators are now operating. They've removed the Navigator's Catalyst steps in the Explorer mode of Ghost of the Deep, since the Catalyst will not drop after completing those steps. So I guess, you have to go do it in a different way, because Explorer, it'll never give it to you, even if you follow the steps. So if you've been infuriatingly trying to get the Catalyst to drop in Explorer mode, it was never going to, so now they've simply removed it. Remove the steps, so you can't do the steps and get, no reward from it. They fixed an issue where the Rite of the 9 Astrograph shader was not appearing on the item's appearance pages. A new Bungie name change token is now available for all players. What have we done? Please try to behave yourselves. So I don't know if that's another thing. I don't know if I saw that notification, so allegedly, but I haven't used my name change tokens from before, so hey, maybe you have a name change token. Try it out. I know some people in our community tried and didn't seem to have one, so maybe you do, maybe you don't. Fix an issue where the Hunter's Omnioculus mask ornament was not displaying all special effects while wearing the Omnioculus exotic chest piece with the Mechanopupil ornament equipped. Yep, that's it. And finally, progress has been added to the Seeker of the 9 Triumph for Spire of the Watcher and Ghost of the Deep, because it was not working, and now it's working. Fix an issue where the progress wasn't being added to the Paleheart Seasonal Challenge after overthrow completions. And last but not least, fix an issue where progress toward completing the Whisper in the Moments of Triumph 2024 title was not counting if players had deleted the quest to complete it from A to 1. So yeah, So if you're doing those things, hopefully now you can do them and everything will work better. And then we have artwork, and we have movies, and we have fashion advice. So if you too want to wear the synthesips without a big shoulder, you can steal this look. And that's it. That's the end of our twit for this week. There's a little kitty cat sunbathing on the beach. Or we're not. So we have more for you.
Okay.
We have things. I know there was at least a little bit of news roundup. So earlier this week, the legend title had gone missing. It was no longer visible to equip or earn. So they pushed a server-side fix again on June 10th, same day we got the update. Players may need to go to Orbit or restart the game to fix it, so presumably 3 days later, now that should be fixed. But yeah, if your legend title was gone or if you were trying to earn it and it just vanished, it should be back now. And that's it. Then we had some downtime this week, and that's all they've had to say as they're all busily preparing for the Edge of Fate. And I know we've talked a good bit about videos for this week. Again, there's the ones in the TWAB that we talked about. And just to throw out there too, I know some people have seen people talking about, oh, they're taking Grandmaster Nightfalls away. They're removing this content from us. And no, yes. I mean, Grandmaster Nightfalls, quote unquote, are going away because you can take any Nightfall and make it into a Grandmaster difficulty in the upcoming content. So there's a number of things where I've seen, on social media, oh, they're taking this, they're removing this from the game. Well, yeah, there's not a Grandmaster node anymore because you can just go there and say, make it difficulty of this, that, or the other. Make this Nightfall a Grandmaster. So yes, there is no specific place for it anymore.
There will be a selected Nightfall for that week for you to do, probably like we have now, and then you choose how you want to tackle it, basically.
Yeah, because so we're going to have those, I think, conquests is what they're calling them. Of hey, you can do this with these harder modifiers and things.
But before we get into videos, I did promise you at the start of the show that Not Arf did return with his friend Noble to give us a little bit of lore. It's bite-sized lore, apparently. So should we get into that, and then we can come back to our roving reporter Noble, who's dropped a couple of videos for us to kind of recommend?
No, that doesn't seem right. Guess we'll have to find out.
Welcome to Bite-Sized Lore with Arf and Noble.
Hello.
Hello. This is where we cover small bite-sized lore segments of weapons and armor. If listeners have any preference what they prefer, if they want a certain piece of armor, just either email the show or drop something into the chat. So today we're going to start with a Verglass Curve combat bow. And the flavor text on this, it's a volley solution to any disruptions. Now, which bow is this one, Noble? Is this this is the
stasis bow, isn't it? The Verglass Curve.
It is. It's I've not actually used it myself because I actually prefer Trinity Gull. Just for ad player on Trinity Gull, you can't beat it. Once you get it procced, it just kills everything.
Happily kills everything as well. It takes great pleasure in
yes. So have you used this bow at all?
I have a little bit. I used it in order to, complete the season in which it came out. You had to get X amount of kills with it and things like that. And I used it a little bit for that purpose, and that's been about it, to be honest.
Right, so let's get into the actual lore itself on this bow. It's a very short one, as our first one. I crouch my knees in the dirt. My world has become pain, heat, erratic movement, ugly noise. I shield my eyes from the shrapnel, press my ear to the shoulder to quiet the baying of my foes. There is too much. It is all too much. My shaking fingers fumble for an arrow. I knock one trailing blue and close myself off from the world. I take a sharp breath and stand. If the bullets hit me, I don't feel them. I pull the drawstring until it's taut across my body, and for a moment, I create peace. My fingers, my arm, the limbs of the bow, the string all locked in unity, equal parts forming a perfect whole. Stillness. The illusion shatters as I release. My fingers fly open, my arm shudders. The bow limbs flex wildly. The string twangs, the arrows fly, everything in motion, surging with chaotic momentum. And on the battlefield, there is only one stillness, beautiful, tranquil stillness. where my enemies once stood. So what did you take from that?
It's definitely a very good description of the noise of battlefields. And the ending is quite, although it's worded beautifully, it's quite dark.
It is. Well, to me, it feels like there's quite a bit of trauma there, actually, in the archer himself.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's quite dark, isn't it? Like it's all a little bit too much for him at the start. You can hear them discussing, how he's quite struggling with all the noise, and it's as he says, it's all too much for him. He's shaking fingers to fumble for an arrow, but he knocks one in, traded blue, close myself off from the world, takes a sharp, deep breath,
and creates peace.
Yeah, but then once he releases it, it's just stillness, beautiful, tranquil stillness where my enemies once stood. It starts off, like you feel quite sorry for the person. And then in the end, you're a bit like, ooh,
thank God he's got that release and he's now in a better place almost.
Yeah, but then knowing full well that all those people that were firing the bullets at him, well,
they found peace as well.
Yeah, that's for sure. They're gone. See you later.
For a short lore segment, it's actually quite a deep one.
Yeah, there's a lot you can take from that one. Whether it be factually or even just within the game.
To be honest, all the lore's very well written. Just the way you can actually almost close your eyes and imagine yourself actually being that archer yourself, and you could almost follow the pattern of his movement right up to the point he lets the arrow fly.
Yeah. At which point you can just sit there with the release of what he's feeling.
Yeah. And he's let all his stress go in that one arrow.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I hope you've enjoyed your bite-sized lore, and I look forward to more.
Thank you, Arf Noble.
Yeah,
but yeah,
that was excellent.
Noble this week has gone to town with. So I'm out of a job for kind of recommending videos this week, but Noble has kind of gone to town in our Discord and recommended. Must be about 6-7 videos for you guys to kind of check out.
Who is this man? I'm not sure I recognize him anymore.
Yeah. I'm like, where's this come from? So, is it Dak? DUQK has the most fun hunter build you will ever play in Destiny 2. So, Ascension Grip is OP apparently.
I'm going with Dak because I look at these names. Dak, Duck. I don't know.
Yeah,
he'll probably tell you in the video, and if not, then make it up. It'll be fine.
And then you have Maven going over the 2 new best weapons coming in the Edge of Fate. They cooked, apparently. They cooked. We have Mactix, the rework guide for the stats rework, armor tiering, and weapon tiering, which we did go over last week. But if you don't want to listen to us from last week, which I highly doubt because you like listening to us from last week, you can go and check out Mactix video. So we have that. And then we have Sticky MZ has Destiny's most requested location is here. Going over, it finally happened. And I believe this is with Old Chicago. So if you want to go and check out Sticky MZ, go and check that one out. And then we have Aztecross. All Edge of Fate developer interviews, everything we learned. So if you want to know everything from Aztecross, he's got you covered because he's done some research and put it all in one video for you.
Yeah. Why watch 6 videos when you can get one from the same place or everything in the same place?
And then we have Sniper KH has the ultimate prep guide for the Edge of Fate, Destiny 2. So if you want to get even more prepared, go and check that out because there may be stuff in there that we've forgotten to tell you or we told you a couple of weeks ago that we forgot to tell you again. So yeah, go and check that one out. And then we have Houndish going over the new exotic buffs and animated weapons for the Edge of Fate. And then finally, we have Froggy618157725 with an out-of-bounds Shattered Throne via the Last Wish No Blink edition.
So I threw that last one in from Froggy because I think it was My Name is Bife posted that he just completed a 6-man Shattered Throne. And I'm going, whoa, what now? How did you get 6 people into Shattered Throne? Well, apparently, I guess, for a while you've been able to get to the Shattered Throne from the Last Wish. And
Okay.
Froggy's done a couple of videos, but this is sort of his updated one where it doesn't require blink, so you can do it on any character class. And yeah, you can bring your 6 friends into from Last Wish to the Shattered Throne and do a 6-man Shattered Throne run, if you're so inclined.
That just sounds insane. I mean,
is.
It's a walkover now with 3. I was able to do it solo, so yeah.
You could bring You could bring 3 friends along simply to emote and still have just as much success.
The one extra video, apart from the ones I've already mentioned, is I will throw in the vault one from Fallout this week, where he roasts other people's vaults, because I did watch it, and I think I would have won if there was a prize to be won. I think I would have won, but I'm not going to show him. So,
yep,
you can have a look at other people's.
Yep, I saw that video come up, and I watched it dutifully because I was like, I'm sure Night Demon didn't submit, but I'm very curious to see what other people did.
Noble threatened to get some footage from some of the live streams of my vault and send it in.
Yeah, there's some people with some interesting choices. There's some that I wonder if they were put together specifically for this video or not, and some that you can tell are just, nope, this is how this person's brain works, and some that were just like, I haven't played in a while, I'm not sure what's here. Yeah, it's wonderful. So yeah, it's him going over a whole bunch of clips of people showing their vaults off, some with audio, some with not, and they're just chef's kiss excellent. So yeah, I was going to include that one if you didn't, and I'm also going to throw in why you shouldn't clean out your vaulted armor yet from Datto. Again, just going over, hey, there's some armor you can dump, there's some armor you can keep, which we've sort of touched on. So again, if you're just trying to make decisions of, I'm staring at a 700 of 700 vault and overflowing postmaster, what can I do to even be able to play for the next month or going forward? He's got you covered. Kami Cakes Gaming has the old prophecy loot is better, and here's why. So yeah, it's a little bit of an eye test, but check out the reticles when you're ADSing your prophecy weapons, because there might be a reason to hang on to older ones if you're so inclined.
That's older ones that you can still play now, kind of prophecy weapon. So if you go into the regular version of prophecy compared to the Rite of 9 versions, I'm guessing.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so just maybe hang on to those. And because everyone's going to be looking for builds, Maven's got a video of the top 3 solar builds for Edge of Fate. So if you're thinking of maybe doing some prep or just saying, hey, what do I want to maybe think about going in with and don't want to rely on the artifact and whatever, hey, here's something to start with. And then for no reason at all, I'm going to link to the Blueberry GG's Unlock Tonic Recipes page. So if maybe you too are seeking that one tonic you've yet to unlock and are trying to figure out which one and why and how you can unlock it, I mean, no reason. Just if you're maybe doing this, I'm going to throw that in there. And they have a nice large graphic that tells you, hey, here's all the tonics, here's where they come from, here's what they are. Because that's half the battle is going, well, this is a question mark. Which tonic is this? To even search to find what it's called to figure out how to unlock it. So yeah, for no reason, I'm just going to drop that link in there as a reminder. And yeah.
Fair enough.
Not that we're bitter. I think that's it. I think all we have to do is to thank our lovely people.
What, those lovely patrons?
Yeah, they're phenomenal patrons. The most phenomenal, Renard Calant and Zeb Orbit, who cannot be threatened with a good time. Renard Calant coming to us from old Chicago. Will he finally get to see his old home shown? We'll see. Our Otter Dance Troupe of the Scarlet KM. Our Grenade Throwers of Golden God 1562, Noble, Fire Squad 6088, The Man Conan from Texas, and Farrell. And Deacon's Day 1 Ray team of Gravy Jeff. We appreciate each and every one of you lovely humans. And we appreciate you. You appreciate us. It's a mutual appreciation society. That's what we're all here for.
Indeed.
And until next week, where we're going to have more things of Edge of Fate. And Night Team and I sit on the edge of our chairs going, is this the week they're going to drop the massive TWAB on us? And will it be the week that we are the most busy in real life? Because you know it's going to happen. So
yeah,
tune in next week to find out. And until then, thank you for joining us. Your Titans are Peroty and Night Demon. Your roving reporter lore readers are Not Arf and Noble. You can find this show wherever you get your podcasts. We're everywhere. Just search for Two Titans and a Hunter. We'll pop up right there in front of you. If you have thoughts, comments, things you'd like to say, twotitansandahunter@hotmail.com. And really, by this point, why haven't you gone to YouTube? Hit subscribe. You're going to get the new update videos. what Ada 1 has, the Eververse goods. You can place your bets on what Crucible modes are coming up. All that is right there on the lovely YouTubes for you to enjoy. If you want to say, hey, didn't you guys talk about that cool build, or didn't you link to that site, or what video was that? TwoTitansAndAHunter.com. All the shows are there, all the show notes are there. Go there, get all the information. And if you want to join the Auto Dance Troop, threaten us with a good time, throw more grenades at us, join the Patreon, patreon.com/TTAH. If you want a more casual encounter, coffee.com/TwoTitansAndAHunter. That's ko-fi.com/TwoTitansAndAHunter. And if you want to watch our family-friendly host play some Trials Tuesday or more in the Loss of Iron Banner, like a proper British gentleman can, twitch.tv/TwoTitansAndAHunter. And until next week, say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Two Titans and a Hunter, a Destiny 2 podcast.